The last stand on Cryan V. The sky over Cryan V burned red. Smoke coiled through shattered towers, and the ground shuddered with the thump of artillery. Sergeant Eli Voss crouched behind a mangled slab of ferrocrete, the stock of his plasma rifle tight against his shoulder. His armor was scorched, cracked at the joints, and he hadn't slept in 2 days. Didn't matter. There was no one left to pass the fight to. Eyes up. Voss barked into his comm there flanking east. No response. The line was dead. The rest of Ghost Team was likely gone, turned to ash or scattered across the ruins. The Threxel hadn't left survivors in months. He leaned out from cover, scanned the alley, and froze. A figure moved in the smoke, fast, low to the ground. Not stumping like a brute. Slithering. Precise. A scout. Voss adjusted his aim. Threxel scouts were different from the reptilian foot soldiers. They were humanoid, sleek, engineered for infiltration. Grown in tanks, trained to kill humans without hesitation. He'd seen them peel flesh from comrades without flinching. The figure darted closer. Voss exhaled and squeezed the trigger. The bolt struck rubble just behind the target. She was too fast. Then she was on him. Voss raised his rifle to block the strike, but she didn't attack. She hovered there, crouched like a predator, her glowing eyes locked with his. Her skin was a pale violet, her pupils vertical slits. Not even breathing hard. But she didn't move. Neither did he. Seconds passed. What the hell? Voss muttered. She tilted her head, bird-like, curious. Then, almost imperceptibly, she lowered her weapon. A short, hooked blade made of bone. Voss didn't lower his gun. Why aren't you killing me? No answer. Just silence, except for the distant rumble of war. Then she did something no Threxel had ever done. She raised her hands, slowly, and dropped the blade. Surrender. Voss blinked. He kept the rifle trained on her. Get on your knees. She complied. I'll be damned. He cuffed her with magnetic restraints, locking her hands behind her back, and activated a locator beacon on his wrist. 2 hours later, back at the half-buried outpost, Voss stood outside the med bay, watching through the reinforced glass. The scout sat on a medical cot, legs folded beneath her like she was meditating. A neurotech drone hovered near her head, scanning. Dr. Lyra Miles, lead on xenobiology, tapped her datapad. You brought her in why? Exactly. She surrendered. She's a bioweapon, Sergeant. Her DNA's half weaponized virus and the other half bad decisions. We should have spaced her 10 clicks ago. I've fought Threxel scouts before. They don't surrender. Maybe it's a trap. Voss crossed his arms. Then why hasn't she killed anyone? Dr. Miles frowned. Maybe because she's planning something worse. Hours passed. No tricks. No escape attempts. Just silence. Voss entered the chamber. She looked up slowly. You are Voss, she said. Her voice was sharp but steady, accented in a way no human dialect could match. You can speak. I was designed to learn quickly. Her eyes narrowed. But I was not designed to feel. Not like, now. He sat across from her, rifle resting across his knees. Name. I have no designation you would call a name. Then what do your people call you? Unit Xi-23. He grunted. Xi works. She nodded. He watched her, noted the way she kept glancing at the walls, the exits, not planning escape, measuring her own fate. You hesitated out there. You could have gutted me. I almost did, she admitted. But I remembered something. What? Her gaze shifted toward the observation window. A child. Human. In a ruined village. She was hiding in rubble. I was ordered to execute all life signs. But I didn't. You let her live. I think I was punished. Reset. But something remained. A memory that shouldn't have been possible. Voss felt a chill crawl up his spine. This wasn't just a defector. This was an accident of compassion. A malfunction in a perfect killer. Then the alarm screamed. Breach. Voss slammed the comm on his wrist. What the hell's going on? Threxel strike team. A voice crackled. They found the lab. Repeat. They're here for the serum. Voss cursed. He sprinted out the door, Xi's cuffs locking behind her. In the upper corridor, the air shimmered with plasma fire. A pair of Threxel warriors tore through a defensive team like wet paper. At the far end of the lab, a secure vault hissed open. Inside was a canister labeled Project Prometheus. The serum. Unstable, raw, barely tested. Designed to enhance a human's combat potential by a factor of 20. Side effects unknown. Zai emerged from the smoke, moving faster than any unarmed prisoner should. Voss aimed instinctively, then hesitated. She wasn't attacking. Instead, she snatched the canister. Zai, don't. Too late. She bit into it. Glass shattered, and viscous fluid poured into her mouth. She swallowed. Then everything went off the rails. Her body spasmed, muscles twisting, eyes flaring with golden light. She fell to her knees, screaming in a pitch too high for human ears. Voss watched in horror. What did you just do? Zai convulsed on the floor. Veins lit up like molten circuitry beneath her skin, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The serum hissed where it spilled, burning the floor with acidic heat. Voss rushed to her side, the empty canister clattering away. Med team, now, he shouted into his comm, she's crashing. But even as he spoke, she stopped shaking. Zai's spine arched, then straightened unnaturally. Her eyes snapped open, pupils now gone, replaced with pulsing gold irises. She looked at Voss like she didn't recognize him, like she barely recognized herself. Zai? He asked, lowering his voice. Can you hear me? She blinked once. Then again. Yes, she said, calm, but distant. I hear everything. A squad of medics arrived, flanked by 2 security guards with stun rifles. One of them raised his weapon. Stand down. Voss barked. She's not safe, one of the guards said. That thing in her, it wasn't made for them. No, Dr. Miles said, entering behind them. She was pale. It wasn't even made for us. That formula was still experimental. We weren't even sure it was stable in human DNA. What the hell were you thinking, Sergeant? I didn't tell her to drink it. Zai slowly rose to her feet. The restraint cuffs, military-grade alloy, snapped off her wrists like brittle plastic. She didn't even notice. Everyone stepped back. Vitals. Miles whispered to the med team. A drone scanned Zai, beeped, then rebooted mid-scan. Smoke rose from its sensor port. She's throwing off enough electromagnetic interference to fry our gear, a medic muttered. Zai turned to Voss. My mind is fractured, unbound. I feel memories not my own. Numbers, smells, pain. Human and Threxel, both. She's integrating, Miles said grimly. The serum's rewriting her genetic code on the fly. One of the guards raised his rifle. We need to put her down now. Zai's head snapped toward him. A second later, the man flew backward into the wall, lifted without touch. His rifle bent into a U-shape before it hit the floor. No one moved. Zai's hands trembled. I didn't mean to. I didn't even think. It just happened. You're not in control, Miles said. We don't know what you are now. I don't know, Zai whispered. Voss stepped between her and the others. She saved your lives. She could have let those Threxel take the serum, or just killed us all herself. She still might, Miles said. Zai staggered, catching herself on a wall. Her breath was ragged again. I feel wrong. Something inside me is trying to take over. I don't want it to. Then we help you, Voss said. Miles stared at him. You're insane. Voss didn't answer. He simply guided Zai down the corridor toward the med lab, the others watching in stunned silence. Inside the isolation chamber, Zai paced. Her footsteps cracked the reinforced floor panels. Her voice came low and steady through the speaker. I wasn't supposed to feel guilt, or hunger, or possibility. My kind are bred for obedience. Voss leaned on the control panel. But you do feel. You spared that child. You hesitated when you had a chance to kill me. That's choice, Zai. She shook her head. No, it's error. I am a system built to follow, now corrupted, and now amplified. Her hands flexed unconsciously, nails like obsidian, fingers twitching as if moving faster than her thoughts. The serum, what does it do? She asked. Enhancement, Voss said. Physical performance, reaction time, cognition. We wanted soldiers who could survive in environments too harsh for armor, too complex for drones. It was supposed to be our edge in this war. It's not just enhancement, Zai said, eyes narrowing. It's evolution. You built a tool to accelerate what took your species millions of years. You think it's changing you? I know it is. I'm feeling things I've never felt. Hearing signals, tracking molecules in the air. But worse, memories are bleeding together. Mine, others, from the serum, from its trials. Pain that isn't mine. Love that isn't mine. Loss. Her voice cracked. I don't know who I am anymore. Voss approached the glass. You're Zai. You made a choice. You're more than what they made you. She looked up. Then why does it hurt so much to remember? He didn't have an answer. That night, alarms shrieked again. Not enemy attack this time. Containment breach. Voss ran to the isolation chamber. Inside, Zai was kneeling in the corner, fists pressed to her temples. The floor around her glowed faintly. Energy patterns spiraled under her knees like circuitry. She's leaking, Miles said from behind him, staring at a monitor. Power levels are spiking. If she keeps going, she'll destabilize the compound's fusion core without meaning to. Voss opened the chamber door. Are you insane? Miles shouted. She needs an anchor, Voss said. She doesn't need another cage. Inside, Zai lifted her head slowly. Her golden eyes dimmed just slightly. I can't stop it, she said, tears running down her cheeks. It keeps accelerating. I can't slow down. You don't have to, he said, kneeling beside her. Just breathe. Her breath hitched. I'm scared. So am I. They stayed like that, surrounded by humming lights and flickering panels, until the tremors in the floor faded and the senses quieted. Zai leaned against him, shivering. I didn't mean to drink it. I know, he said. But now we figure out what comes next. Unstable power. The next morning, the walls of the containment chamber were covered in thin cracks, barely visible, but spreading like veins through the reinforced polysteel. Voss noticed them first, running his fingers along the fractures as he stepped inside. Zai sat cross-legged on the floor, her back straight, eyes closed. Her skin had shifted again, less violet now, more translucent, like light was pulsing just beneath the surface. Hair that had once been a dull white shimmered faintly with strands of silver. You didn't sleep, Voss said quietly. I can't, she replied, voice low. My mind keeps moving. Even when I close my eyes, it keeps thinking, calculating, remembering. Memories from the serum. Yes, from the humans who tested it. Some of them died screaming. Some changed. One chose to end himself before the serum could. Jesus. Zai opened her eyes. I also remember a woman named Sarah. She volunteered. She had a brother in the infantry. She just wanted to keep him safe. Her last thoughts were of him. Voss sat across from her. It's like you've got ghosts in your head. She nodded, and they're getting louder. He studied her carefully. Her posture was still relaxed, but the energy radiating from her body was more intense than the day before. Monitors outside the chamber flickered every time she moved. How do you feel physically? He asked. Zai considered the question. Faster. Stronger. I can see in the dark. Hear vibrations through the walls. I know when someone enters the room before the door opens. Do you feel in control? A pause. Not always. Vossi's jaw tensed. That was what he feared. I destroyed a diagnostic drone last night, she continued. I didn't touch it. I thought about stopping it from scanning me, and it imploded. That's not telekinesis, he muttered. That's quantum field interaction. You're warping physical reality. She gave him a tired look. You say that like it helps. He chuckled despite himself. Fair. Suddenly, the chamber lights flared, then died. Darkness swallowed the room. Emergency lights flicked on seconds later, painting the space in red. System fault, came Dr. Miles's voice through the intercom. Something's draining the fusion regulators. It's her. Zai's voice stayed calm. I didn't mean to. I was trying to slow my pulse. Voss rose. We need a better solution than this cage. She's not stable, and we're running out of time. Later that day, Voss argued his case in the command center. Dr. Miles, Colonel Rourke, and a handful of high-ranking officials joined via hologram. She's a walking energy bomb, Rourke said. Every second she breathes, she risks taking this whole base with her. She didn't ask for this, Voss snapped. She's trying to control it. She chugged classified, unstable biotech, Rourke retorted. She's not a victim. She's an active threat. She saved the serum from falling into enemy hands. She is the serum now. Dr. Miles cleared her throat. We've been analyzing residual samples from the chamber. Whatever the serum was meant to do, it's evolved. Her alien physiology fused with it, rewrote it. The version of Zai we're seeing now is new, uncharted. So you're saying she's a prototype? Voss asked. I'm saying she's a singularity, Miles replied. A hybrid of Threxel DNA and human post-genetic augmentation. If the Threxel figure out what she's become, they'll stop at nothing to retrieve her. Rourke leaned forward. Then we destroy her before they get the chance. Voss's fists clenched. No, you've gone soft, Sergeant. No, I've gone smart, he growled. She's our only hope of understanding how to counter their scouts. She's the missing piece. She's a ticking bomb, Rourke repeated. She's a person, Voss shot back. One who made the first real choice any of her kind has ever made. She chose us. Silence. Finally, Rourke relented. She doesn't leave that compound. Not until we know exactly what we're dealing with. Back in the chamber, Zai stood staring into the mirror. It wasn't a real mirror, just a polished metal panel, but it showed her enough. Her reflection looked like a stranger, muscles more defined. Irises now facete, gold with flecks of red. Veins like circuitry under the skin. She touched the surface. I don't know what I am anymore, she whispered. You, Voss said behind her. She didn't turn. That might not be good enough. I feel myself slipping. The more I adapt, the less I remember how to be still. Then don't be still. Zai finally turned. What do you mean? You're a fighter. You always have been. You weren't built for meditation, Zai. You were built to move, to push back. She looked at him for a long time. You're saying I need to train. He nodded. Control comes through use, not suppression. We'll do it carefully, but if you keep bottling this up, it's going to blow. She hesitated. I'm afraid. So am I. But we don't get to be afraid forever. Zai exhaled. Her posture shifted slightly, more grounded. All right, Sergeant. Let's see what this new body can do. That night, in the deep sublevels of the base, Voss and Zai stood in the training dome, an armored, sensor-filled chamber originally built to test mech suits. Now it would hold something far more dangerous. Keep your focus, Voss said. Breathe. Move slow. Zai stepped forward, hands raised. A drone zipped toward her. She turned, and in a blur of motion, she was gone. The drone split in half, sparks flying. Another drone launched. She jumped 30 feet into the air, somersaulting mid-flight. Landed silently, then gasped. Her knees buckled. Voss rushed forward. Zai. She gripped her head, veins glowing. Too much, too fast. You're okay. Stay with me. She looked up at him, eyes wild, but clearing. I felt everything. Every magnetic field. Every microcurrent. Every beat of your heart. He nodded. You're overwhelmed, but you're still in there. She took his hand. I want to stay. Then we train, he said. Break out. Zai didn't sleep. Again, she sat on the floor of the training dome, knees drawn to her chest, bathed in the soft hum of idle energy fields. Every few minutes, her fingers twitched, sparks arcing between them. Not painful, just alive. Voss watched her from the control booth, arms folded. For 3 days they trained. Strength tests, reflex calibration, mental grounding. Every time, she improved. Faster, sharper, more aware, but also more unstable. She laughed once mid-combat, then burst into tears seconds later. Mood swings like tidal waves. She was becoming something more. Something neither of them fully understood. and something everyone else was afraid of. That morning, Colonel Rourke's voice crackled through the comms. We've received long-range scans. A Threxel dropship is approaching Cryon VS orbit. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. Voss clenched his jaw. How'd they find us? We think they tracked the Serum's energy signature. And guess who's carrying it now? Voss turned to look at Zai. She was standing dead still in the middle of the dome, as if she'd already heard the news. He cut the comm, walked down to her. They're coming for you. She nodded. They won't stop. I know. We can hide you. Get you off-world. No. If I run, they'll follow. If they catch me, they'll dissect me. Or worse, duplicate me. Voss stepped closer. Then what? She looked up, eyes blazing. We end it, hey. 2 hours later, the base descended into quiet panic. Evac plans were whispered. Security protocols tripled. Zai was relocated to a hardened vault under armed watch, despite Voss's protests. Dr. Miles cornered him in the corridor. She's becoming a beacon, Miles said. The serum inside her, it's not dormant. It's broadcasting on subquantum bands. Meaning she's not just enhanced. She's a signal now. A message. The Threxel aren't just coming to retrieve her. They're coming to respond to her. Like she's calling them. Or challenging them. Voss turned toward the vault. Then we're wasting time locking her in a box. She's unstable. She's our best chance. The first blast hit just past the 3-hour mark. The ground trembled. Dust fell from ceiling panels. The compound's outer wall ruptured. Voss was already sprinting toward the vault when the second hit came. Closer this time. Alarms wailed. Power flickered. He reached the reinforced corridor just as the guards outside Zai's cell raised their weapons. Let me through, he barked. She's trying to breach the wall. She's protecting herself. Inside, Zai stood in the center of the room, arms outstretched, energy rippling from her in waves. Every bolt, every screw in the walls trembled in resonance. Sparks rained down. Zai! Voss shouted through the glass. Her eyes found him. They are already here. Suddenly, the lights died. Everything went dark. Then came the explosion. When Voss came to, his ears were ringing and smoke choked the air. Half the corridor was gone, ripped apart by what looked like a pressure wave from inside the vault. He staggered to his feet, coughing. The vault door hung open. Zai was gone. No. He ran. Outside, the base was in chaos. Threxel warriors, 8 feet tall, armored in organic plating, poured through breaches in the northern wall. Defense turrets screamed and fired, but some of the attackers blinked out of visibility mid-charge, using stealth cloaks to dodge fire. And then, through it all, Zai appeared. She moved like lightning, slamming into the nearest Threxel brute with a crack that shattered the air. Bones snapped. The enemy flew back 20 meters, impacting a wall hard enough to crater it. Another charged her. She caught its blade mid-swing, eyes glowing, and melted the metal in her grip. With a twist of her body, she sent the creature flying. From the shadows, a sniper took aim. Voss spotted it just before the shot fired. ZAI, left. She didn't dodge. The bolt struck her shoulder and stopped, hovering an inch from her skin, locked in some invisible stasis. She looked at it curiously, then flicked it away. A smile tugged at her lips. Voss reached her just as the second wave of Threxel dropped from the sky. Smaller, sleeker units with bladed limbs and black visors. Scouts, she hissed. They are mine. Zai moved. What followed wasn't a fight. It was an execution. She tore through them like a storm, spinning, striking, dodging at speeds the human eye could barely follow. Plasma cracked around her. Threxel weapons melted in her hands. Their tactics failed. She anticipated every move. And yet, Voss saw it. She was unraveling. For every kill, her expression shifted. Ecstasy, fury, sorrow. Her fists clenched tighter. Her movements became more violent, less controlled. Her aura of energy surged wildly, distorting the air around her. Then she screamed. A pulse of force knocked every soldier, human and alien, off their feet. Concrete cracked. Sirens died. For a moment, the battlefield froze. Zai dropped to her knees, gasping. Voss crawled to her. You have to breathe, he said, grabbing her shoulders. You're not a weapon. I can't, she whispered. They're in my head. Voices. Instincts. Orders. I want to kill them all. I want to. But you didn't before. You can still choose. You can stop. Tears ran down her face, glowing gold like liquid metal. I don't know who I am. You're the one who drank the serum and broke her programming. You're the one who could have run, but didn't. You're Zai. You're not theirs. She looked at him, and slowly, the light in her eyes dimmed. Just slightly, but enough. She stood, shakily. Then let's end this. With her lead, the base's defenders rallied. Zai tore through the Threxel war machines, guided Voss and the remaining squad to the enemy command ship, and overloaded its systems from within. Her hand pressed to the core like she was part of the machine. It exploded in the upper atmosphere. The remaining Threxel fled. Cryon V was quiet again. But nothing would ever be the same. Apex instinct. The smoke had settled. The battlefield was silent. Bodies, human and Threxel alike, littered the crater's outside outpost Cryon V. The sky, once streaked with fire, now held a dull gray quietness. No dropships, no gunships, no sound, save for the buzz of broken power lines and distant groans of wounded soldiers. And standing at the center of it all, barefoot on scorched earth, was Zai. She wasn't breathing hard. She wasn't shaking. Her eyes, still gold, were cold and glassy. Too still. Voss stepped toward her slowly. Zai, it's over. She didn't turn. It's not. They're gone. You won. I didn't win, she said flatly. I adapted. I killed faster than they could think. I felt joy when I crushed their throats. You did what you had to. I enjoyed it, Voss. Now she turned to face him, and for the first time since she drank the serum, he took a step back. Her face was the same, familiar, even beautiful, but the expression was utterly foreign, like she was trying to mimic emotion instead of feel it. She blinked slowly. There's something inside me now. A second mind. It whispers in combat. It calculates. It wants more. What does it want? He asked carefully. To ascend. Voss's hand dropped to his sidearm. He didn't draw it, just felt the comfort of it being there. Zai, we can help you. We'll run diagnostics. Get the serum out, stabilize you. You can't. The serum isn't an infection anymore. She placed her palm against her chest. It's me. He swallowed hard. Then you're in control. She looked at her hands. That's the problem. I don't know if that's true. Later, inside the ruins of the war room, the surviving officers huddled around flickering displays. Colonel Rourke, face blooded and half his uniform torn, leaned over a table of holocharts. She's not human, he growled. She's not Threxel anymore, either. She's something else. She saved this base, Voss said, stepping into the room. She dismantled half of it, too. Rourke shut back. You saw what she did. You saw the look in her eyes. I also saw her stop. You think the Threxel would have stopped? Miles chimed in. Sergeant, I've run what little data we have. Whatever's happening in her physiology isn't just mutation. It's evolution. Accelerated cognitive and physical growth. Her neural structure has doubled in complexity in 3 days. She's becoming post-organic. Meaning? Rourke asked. Meaning her mind may soon operate beyond our understanding of consciousness. Logic, emotion, instinct, all merging into something new. She's turning into a goddamn alien AI. No, Voss said. She's fighting it. She wants to stay herself. For how long? Rourke said, standing. Until she decides we're inferior? Until she turns this entire base into dust because someone blinked wrong. No one had an answer. That evening, Voss found her on the roof of the command dome. She was crouched at the edge, watching the sunset. Her silhouette glowed faintly, less now from heat or energy, and more like the light had decided she deserved to reflect it. You always come up here, he said. Because it's quiet, she replied. No orders. No scans. Just sky. He sat beside her. They watched the clouds drift in silence. I overheard them, she said. They are afraid. Yeah, they should be. He looked at her. You don't want to hurt them. No, she agreed. But that doesn't mean I won't. She flexed her fingers. Sparks danced between them. I'm changing, Voss. Every minute. I can feel time differently now. I can predict outcomes before they happen. I see every movement you make as it begins. I could crush a tank barehanded or hack every system in this base with a glance. And yet you haven't. I don't want to be a weapon, she whispered. But I was built as one. Then I drank your war serum. Now I'm something in between. And I don't know how long that middle ground will hold. You afraid? She nodded. Good, he said. Means you still have a soul. Zai turned to him, eyes shimmering. But what happens when I don't? Later that night, alarms screamed again, but not because of an attack. Rourke had issued Code Red, Execute Order Black Glass, Kill Protocol for internal existential threats. Zai. Miles burst into Voss's quarters. They're coming. He sent Omega Squad to take her out. I tried to stop him. Voss didn't hesitate. He grabbed his rifle, slammed a fresh mag in, and sprinted. He found her already surrounded in the training dome. 6 black-armored soldiers circled her, weapons charged. Zai stood motionless, arms loose at her sides. She didn't look angry. She looked tired. One of the soldiers barked, "On your knees. Hands where we can see them." Voss stepped between them. "Stand down. She hasn't done anything." "She will," the squad leader snapped. Rourke's orders. Zai raised her eyes to Voss. "Don't fight them." "The hell I won't." "I could end this," she said quietly. "I could turn them all into statues of ash in under a second. But that's exactly what Rourke wants, to prove I'm a threat. So don't give him the satisfaction." No, she stepped forward. The soldiers tensed. Zai dropped to one knee. "Let them take me." Voss reached for her. "Zai." She placed a hand on his chest. "Trust me." And that was the moment he realized. She wasn't afraid of death. She was afraid of what would happen if she fought back. The reckoning. Zai stood motionless in the center of the containment sphere. No walls, no corners, just a seamless dome of polished obsidian and humming magnetic fields. Built deep beneath Cryon VS Command Core, it was originally designed to detain volatile alien technology. Now, it held her. There were no restraints. There didn't need to be. The walls hummed with suppressive energy, calibrated to neutralize any power she tried to use. At least in theory. From the observation window, Voss watched her. She hadn't moved in 4 hours. Dr. Miles stepped up beside him, tablet in hand. Neural activity is off the charts. She's still adapting. She let them bring her here, Voss said. She didn't want to give Rourke an excuse to call her a monster. She's not. No, Miles agreed. But I don't think Rourke cares. Colonel Rourke stood in the war chamber, flanked by 2 planetary liaisons and a projection of Central Command. "We can't risk this getting off-world," he barked. "You've seen the data. She's evolving by the hour. We can't let this experiment continue." One of the liaisons looked unsure. She turned the tide against the Threxel. "At what cost?" Rourke snapped. "She liquefied enemy units with her mind. She can distort gravity fields. If she turns hostile, we lose everything." "Then make her an ally," the projection from Command said. "Containment is temporary. She could be the most powerful asset humanity's ever had." "She's not ours," Rourke said. "She's a Threxel weapon with a human heart duct-taped on." "I'll give you 24 hours, Command replied. "Prove she's a threat, or release her. We're not going to start another war with a being who saved your life." The transmission cut. Rourke slammed his fist on the table. "So be it. She wants a reckoning. Let's give her one." Zai's eyes opened as the chamber lights dimmed. She stood slowly, her posture composed, regal. Her voice echoed against the walls. "They're going to try to kill me." Voss's voice came through the speaker. "I'm trying to stop them." "No, they want proof I'm dangerous. And if I sit here too long, they'll invent it." "You're not alone." "I'm always alone," she said. "Even now. I'm the only one of my kind." "No," Voss replied. "You're the first of your kind." Zai turned toward the speaker. I've seen futures. Flashes. I saw a version of myself unleashing a wave of fire across the stars. I saw a version where I stayed quiet and was dissected in the name of security. I've never seen a future where I walk free and live. Then make one. Rourke activated the purge command that night. A synthetic voice echoed through the chamber. Termination sequence initialized. Gas hiss from events. But it wasn't sedative. It was a molecular destabilizer, designed to collapse high-energy biological matter. Zai's body convulsed for a moment. Then she straightened. The gas thickened, hissing in clouds, obscuring the walls. But she was still standing. From the observation booth, warning lights exploded across every console. Power surge in Cell 1. Miles shouted. She's pushing back against the suppression field. Rourke stormed in. Override the dampeners. Flood the field. No effect, a tech screamed. She's resisting everything. Inside the dome, Zai opened her eyes. And the dome shattered. Not exploded. Not cracked. Shattered. Every atom of the material disassembled at once. No sound. No fire. Just a sudden absence where there should have been matter. Voss stood rooted to the floor as the alarms wailed. And Zai stepped through the void. The soldiers who rushed to contain her stopped in their tracks as she passed. She didn't threaten, didn't lash out, just walked, calm, focused, unstoppable. Miles approached her hesitantly. Zai, what are you going to do? Zai looked at her. I'm going to end the war. Which one? All of them. The next hours moved fast. Zai commandeered a shuttle. Voss insisted on going with her. She didn't argue. The destination, a Threxel battle nexus orbiting Cryon vs Twin Moon, Prime Hive Command. The heart of their war machine. This is a suicide run, Voss said, strapping him beside her. No, it's a reset. The shuttle breached Threxel A-space within an hour. Their defenses scrambled to intercept. Fighters, drones, heavy cannons. Zai raised a hand, and space around the shuttle bent. The missiles veered off. The guns malfunctioned. The fighters lost power and drifted, harmless. She landed the shuttle on the Hive's outer docking ring. Threxel swarmed the hangar, dozens of them, towering, clawed, armored. Zai stepped out alone. Voss watched from the hatch, rifle ready, but didn't fire. A massive Threxel queen descended from the ceiling, her body like a centipede fused with humanoid grace, eyes burning like molten iron. Defective spawn, the queen hissed. You return to die. No, Zai said. I return to end you. You carry stolen power. I carry new power, and I'm not yours anymore. The queen lunged. It didn't last long. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. Zai moved like time bent around her. The queen screamed in frequencies that shattered steel, but Zai silenced her with a gesture. The Threxel collapsed, convulsing, their minds overwhelmed by something they couldn't process, freedom. Zai reached out and linked with the Hive core. Voss watched her from behind bulletproof glass as she connected herself to the ancient biological network, uploading thought, emotion, possibility. When it was done, the queen lay still. The Hive fell quiet. Zai turned to Voss. It's done. Back aboard the shuttle, they lifted off. The stars above shimmered, clearer than before. No retaliation. Voss asked. No need, Zai said. I gave them something they've never had. What's that? Choice. She looked at him, finally smiling. They won't be back. Not for a long time. And you? I don't know yet, she admitted. But I think I want to stay human. Or at least, something close. What remains after the fire? 3 weeks later, the war officially ended. No treaty was signed. No declaration was made. The Threxel simply vanished, retreated into the stars without resistance, without warning. Recon drones scanned their former territories and found empty ships, abandoned structures, inert battle forms. A silence never before seen from a species bred for domination. And Zai had done it in one day. She sat now in the shade of a rusted comms dish at the far edge of Outpost Cryon V, knees drawn up, head tilted toward the pale blue sky. A breeze rustled the dry grass. Her breathing was slow, deliberate, human. Voss approached with 2 steaming mugs in hand. He held one out to her. Coffee. Synthetic, but not bad. She took it without speaking, letting the cup warm her palms. "You've been quiet," he said. "I've had to be," she replied. Every word, every thought, echoes louder now. My mind's like an engine with no brakes. I could rewrite the biology of a continent before breakfast. But you haven't. She turned to him. Not yet. He sat beside her, silent for a moment. Then, "You think it'll come to that?" "I don't know," she said. "I don't feel like I'm falling apart anymore. I feel balanced. But that balance takes effort." Voss sipped his coffee. "So why stay here?" Zai looked out toward the ridge beyond the base, where the scorched battlefield had begun to grow green again. "Because it's broken," she said. "And broken things make sense to me." Inside the newly reconstructed operations hub, Colonel Rourke gave his final report before reassignment. Central Command had pulled him from Cryon V, citing incompatibility with current stabilization goals. Voss stood in the back of the room, arms crossed. Rourke's voice remained cold, professional. "She's not a soldier. She's not a threat. She's something in between. I hope Command understands what they've chosen to protect." He left without looking back. No one tried to stop him. Later, Voss found Miles sitting in the lab, surrounded by data streams and neural scans. The doctor looked more rested than she had in months. "She's stabilizing," Miles said. "I've never seen anything like it. The serum didn't just enhance her, it fused with her, rewrote her DNA without losing identity cohesion. That's unheard of. She's still Zai." Miles nodded. "Yes, but she's more now, and she's choosing not to become something worse. That's the part that baffles me." "It's called will," Voss said. "It's called humanity," Miles corrected. That evening, Zai wandered through the ruins of the barracks. Places once filled with chaos, now quiet. Soldiers who once feared her now nodded as she passed, unsure whether to salute, speak, or remain silent. She smiled gently in return, asking for none of it. In the courtyard, a young corporal approached. "Miss Zai?" he asked. She paused. "Just Zai." He swallowed, nervous. I just wanted to thank you. My sister was on one of the outposts you saved. She said you didn't even speak. You just tore their warships apart like they were paper." Zai's expression flickered. "I remember her. She said you looked like a ghost made of fire." Zai smiled faintly. "That's probably accurate." He nodded, unsure what else to say, and turned to go. "Wait," she said. "What's your name?" "Corporal Dren." "Thank you, Dren, for remembering that I was there to help." He left, head high, and Zai stood for a long moment afterward. Later that night, under the pale moons of Cryon V, Zai and Voss stood atop the observation tower, gazing into the stars. "They'll come again, won't they?" Voss asked. "Maybe not the Threxel," she said. "But someone, something. Power always attracts challenges. And you'll be ready." She turned to him. "That's the question I keep asking myself. You're afraid of losing control. I'm afraid of losing myself," she said. "I feel the thoughts in my head stretching wider. I could process 1,000,000 lives at once, chart outcomes, calculate the shape of civilizations. But when I look in the mirror, I don't want to see a machine." Voss looked at her, steady. "You still look like you." Zai hesitated, then took his hand. Her touch was warm, solid. "I think I want to stay here for a while," she said. Voss arched a brow. "You? Stay put." "Not forever," she admitted, "but long enough to watch the wildflowers grow back." 1 month later, a new program launched under Central Command, Project Phoenix, a cooperative think tank designed to explore the potential of serum-enhanced evolution. Zai declined the invitation. Instead, she helped rebuild Cryon V's outer sectors, side by side with human engineers and tech crews. Not as a leader, not as a symbol, just as someone who wanted to work. Kids from nearby settlements came to see the Flame Woman, but found someone who smiled easily, answered questions, and even laughed. She wasn't a ghost made of fire anymore. She was just Zai. On the day of the first new crop planting, she and Voss walked the perimeter fields. The sun was soft, the sky quiet. Things feel normal, he said. They are not, she replied. But that's okay. Normal's just a setting on a sensor. He chuckled. So what now? I stay, she said. Until I don't have to. Then what? Zai looked to the stars. I figure out who I'm going to be next.